Hi darlings, thank you so much for joining me on my channel today. And today I have a process video for day 2 in my December daily. So I'm gonna give you a quick peek. This is my title page. And I will have in between here, I'm gonna have my reason why. I already know how I'm gonna set that up. I just haven't filmed it yet. But I have my day 1 here, which if you missed that video, it is on here on my channel, and I'm gonna link it below for you and up in the eye. But so on the back of here, I'm going to put together day 2. So let me just take this out. I want to be delicate with this only because I do have, I mean, they're not gonna come off or anything, but I do have sequins glued onto this. But I went out for breakfast with some friends for day 2. And so I have those pictures here, and I printed out 2 4x6s. Now, these are not pictures that I want to kind of have on display, or like when you flip open to day 2, I don't want it to be like boom in your face. So I'm gonna create a way to hide it. And I have a couple of other embellishments that I pulled from my stash. So this cork piece and this heart is going to be layered in the middle. This is going to be my inside pattern paper. This is from this year's kit. This is going to be the outside pattern paper. And I'm in essence gonna create a flip open that's gonna flip up and down, and then I'll have 3 spaces for 4x6s. So I have 2 4x6 cards and 2 4x6 photos inside of that flip open. Now, this idea came directly from Tracy Reed, who was inspired by someone else, and she shared that foundation page. And so I knew that I would use it sometime, during this month. So I did keep that in mind. So I'm going to be doing that. I am going to use this for the outside paper, and go ahead and dig in. Let's dig in. Okay, darlings, this actually took longer than I thought it would, but I am going to walk you through this process. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to cut down my paper that I chose for the outside down to the size of this page protector. I am going to use my Fiskars tool. You're going to see me flip over this middle part. Thanks, Allie, for this tip, because this is going to save me some money until I get a new one for my Fiskars tool. But okay, so I'm cutting this down so it can be the exact height of the page before, or day 1. And then this one, I'm going to cut down to outside the page protector size. And then I have to go back and cut an inch in because I have the holes on the right hand side of this page, it's not going to allow me to flip up and down the pages. So I need to go ahead and make space for the holes, and I'm going to cover that up with some washi. You'll see how I'm going to use that. Okay, so now that I have cut that down to the size that I need, I want to make sure that my journaling cards will fit. And so I'm going to cut that down. I thought that just an inch would do, but I actually end up cutting it down a little bit more just to make sure that my journaling cards would fit perfectly there. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and measure this out. And then after I measure it out, I'm going to go ahead and fold it down the middle so I know where I'm going to cut. First, I'm going to take a look to see if I like that, and I do. I love the fabric heart on the cork, all the texture, and I'm going to go ahead and kind of make a little score mark, and then I'm going to cut this in half. Okay, so after cutting in half, I have now my top and my bottom part. Again, I'm just double checking, making sure that these are going to be the correct size. And so now I'm going to build this right on the back of this. So like I said, I did get this idea from Tracy Reed, and let me just say that she made this so much easier. I'm building this on the back of day number 1, but she actually just built this and then attached page attachers to it. So my recommendation is definitely do it the way she did, because it was so much easier than what I'm doing right now. This just it took a couple extra steps. So my top paper is going to be this cross X and O paper, and I am going to cut it a little bit bigger because I need to make a score to be able to have a folding mechanism, to have this flap up or fold up. So you're going to see me grab my scoreboard, and then I'm going to grab my card. I'm going to cut that down to size, and then I'm going to add that to my mini scoreboard, and I'm going to take my bone folder and kind of score that down there. I'm going to do both sides because it just makes it easier. Then I'll fold that over and brandish that down. And now I have that piece so I can add to the top, and it has the little folding mechanism already for me. This was perfect because I had to cut down the paper already, so I was able to just add that folding mechanism there, as you can see here. And then I'm just fitting it here with the picture that I know is going to go here at the top. And then again, just taking a look at how it's going to look. And then here, I'm kind of looking at, okay, so where is my circle going to fall? And I like that. So now I'm going to grab my washi. I'm going to add it along the right side of this paper because this is going to be empty, or it is empty. So I need to fill it up with something. So I'm using this plaid Christmas washi that was in my stash. I go ahead and punch out my holes, and then I absolutely love the mix of the plaid and this paper. It just looks really, really good. I end up adding some gold washi later on as well. You'll see that, and I think it matches perfectly with the gold stars and the gold number that I'm going to add to the middle as well. Okay, now I'm grabbing my score tape and I'm adding that to this right here. And I'm going to brandish that down. And then I'm going to add another piece of the same paper on the bottom. I am going to go ahead and cut down another piece. And since I'm going to be using a journaling card at the bottom and not patterned paper, I had to just make a 1-inch little fold strip here. So I'm going to do the same thing. I go ahead and cut down 1 inch, and now I'm going to score it. So if you use pattern paper on both the top and the bottom, it makes it so much easier because you can just make that pattern paper 1 inch longer so that you can fold it. But here I have to make that mechanism in order for it to have the ability to fold down. Hope that makes sense. Okay, so just scoring that or brandishing it very well. Bring that back over, taking a look, and I see that I have that space in between my journaling card and the plaid, but that's okay. I'm just going to grab this very thin gold washi. This washi came with the main kit last year, and I still have some left over, and I love the gold foil. I think it adds a little bit of pizzazz. And again, it ties in with the gold stars on the paper, even though they're not foiled, but the gold foil puffy number is gonna go beautifully with this as well. Okay, so now I have my top part, and so I'm gonna go ahead and take off the release paper and add that here to the top. Something else that you could do if you don't want to do the folding paper and add bulk, you can also use washi, and that would work well too. I wanted to use this cardstock paper because honestly, because they flip, or when I say they, my family flips through our albums pretty frequently. I didn't trust just using washi. So this is just a little bit sturdier for me, and it gives me peace of mind. Okay, so here I'm taking a look at where I'm going to place my cork circle. And what I'm doing is I'm placing it over both sides of the paper and kind of making a faint little indentation with my paper piercer. And then I grab my scissors and just cut the half circles out on both sides of the paper. This just made it easy for me. I didn't have to make a mark with my pencil and then have to erase it. And then here we have that circle perfectly in the middle. The circle was a little bit smaller than the actual cork, so I have to cut some down a little bit more later on. But other than that, it's perfect. Okay, adding some washi tape or not washing tape, some tape runner to this part of the bottom. That way I can have the fold down. Sorry, I'm off camera right here, but it's pretty simple. I'm just adding that to the bottom of the page. That way I can have the fold down here. Okay, using the bottom of my piercer to kind of brandish that really well. And now I can add my tape runner to the other side of this, and then I can add this to the bottom of my page. Again, this is really simple. It just took me quite a few steps here. And of course, as I'm working, my family comes in, my children come in, my husband comes home from work, and so I stop and talk to them, and they're talking to me while I'm crafting. So that happens as well. Okay, so here I have a piece of washi over the face of the group of ladies that joined me for a breakfast or a brunch that we had. A couple of us ladies from church got together. And I love this group of ladies, and I knew that I wanted to tell this story for day 2. Okay, so here I did the same thing with my cork. I just put that down and kind of traced it. This time I used a pencil because it wouldn't show up on this glossy paper. If you guys are wondering, I had both of these 4x6s. These were printed at Walgreens. Again, Walgreens is down the street from my house, so it's easy for me to have everything printed there and just pick up in an hour. Okay, now I'm adding my tape runner. I'm going to have to get some of this soon because I am using tons of it this year. I add my tape runner to the bottom here, and then I'm going to add my pictures. I do realize that my picture is a little crooked and I try to pick it up, but when I see that it wasn't coming up easily, I thought maybe I would leave it and kind of work with it. But I do have to pick it up because it drove me nuts. There was just a sliver of it that was a little bit crooked and it was driving me nuts. So I end up having just to pull it off and do it all over again, even though it was a little bit, and you guys probably wouldn't even notice, but I do, and it would drive me nuts if I left it that way. So I end up actually tearing the paper just a little bit, but that's okay because there's double the amount of paper here. I add some more adhesive. I line that up perfectly this time. And then there, I have both pictures there in the middle. And I absolutely love that. Adding some more adhesive to the bottom there for my cork. And you guys, loving it so far. Okay, so on the bottom here, I wanted to use a journaling card to place my journaling. So here you see me shuffling for the one that I had chosen. And afterwards, I'm going to go ahead and add that to the bottom of the page here with some tape runner as well. I go ahead and just add that to the bottom. I did have a little bit of space in between the journaling card and that photo, so I'm going to add another little strip of washi here, which is perfect because it ties in just a little bit more gold on the inside of this flip out. And then I'm going to go ahead and add adhesive, and then I'm going to add my journaling card to the bottom. And when I add my journaling card to the bottom, then I'll cut out the little half circle that is there. There are probably tons of other ways to do this that's much easier than the path that I have chosen, but this is just the way that it came out for me, and I still love the result. And I really loved this page because what I had in my mind definitely is what came out on paper, and even better. Okay, so now I'll flip this over and I'm going to grab my X-Acto knife and I will cut out that half circle. One of the things that I'd love to say is with these shapes, especially things like these circles, it's never going to be absolutely perfect. But if you go very, very slow, you get a better impression. So you may have to go over it a couple of times, especially if you are not pressing down hard enough. But if you go slow, I promise you that you'll get a very good cut. So don't be afraid to use an X-Acto knife if you don't have like a cutting machine or something. Okay, so go ahead and cut out the second half of that half circle, and I am loving it. Okay, now I need to work on cleaning up the half circle at the bottom. I'm just making sure that I have all of the space that I need. And then I'm going to add, I get a little bit too happy and I take off all of the release paper from the back of this fabric heart. I'll have to go in and add in a little bit of that backing just because the ends of the heart that are going to overlap over the paper also have adhesive, and I don't want that to stick to the paper because that is actually what's going to hold the flaps from coming up. Hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head, and I hope that translates well here on camera. So the two edge flaps or the two edges of the hearts are going to hold down those flaps eventually. So here it is a little tight or a little snug. So I do go back and cut a little bit more. But after I cut it down, it works perfectly. I'm going to grab my gold puffy numbers and grab a number 2. It's the perfect place to add my number for this day. I really love that. And again, it goes beautifully with the gold washi. So here you see me cut down. I'm just going to make the half circle a little bit deeper. But after I clean up the circles, it honestly looks really, really good and works well with the opening and closing with the heart there. Okay, on the inside here, you could just leave it blank with this beautiful pattern paper, but I did want to add this sentiment that I picked out. It says, sometimes the unexpected things turn out to be the very best things. And I thought it was the perfect quote for this group of ladies that I have been getting together with, and just being able to have a group of ladies that you can talk to, that you can kind of take a break with and be able to share with. I think it's a beautiful thing, and this group came together unexpectedly, so this was the perfect quote. So I'm going to use this quote up here at the top, add some tape runner, and then I'm going to try and center it as best I can right here at the top of this flap. And that is a wrap, ladies. I really love how this turned out. I'll add my date stamp off camera. This did happen on December 2nd. Thank you so much for joining me, and God bless. Bye.